Hello, travel friends that are making their way to New Orleans for Jazz Fest 2022. Make sure that you caught part 1 of this series. Today, this is part 2, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about being comfortable and about the people that you're going to surround yourself with today. If we haven't met before, my name's Misty, and you're watching Misti On The Move. My son Jaxon, who's 15, my boyfriend George, and I travel all over the country to listen to music. And fortunately for us, we live in New Orleans, and so we get to do Jazz Fest every year that it is on track. So we are recovering from the pandemic, and this is the first Jazz Fest that we are able to attend again. And so I just want to talk to you for a second about things that might help you be more comfortable if you decide to come to New Orleans for Jazz Fest 2022. So we're going to start right here. If you are going to plan to be at a stage all day and watch all the acts on one stage, you're going to want to bring the things with you that you're going to need to set up a small camp, such as chairs, umbrellas, a tarp, or plastic bag to lay down on the ground. A lot of times it is wet, or there'll be little spurs in the grass that'll poke through your blanket or towel. So you're going to need to bring all of that with you and be mindful that 80,000 other people are doing the exact same thing. So you are going to be squished in here with a ton of people that all have the same objective of getting the best spot for their group to watch whatever headliner is playing. At this particular day, The Who was playing, and this area here where you can set up chairs was absolutely packed. A lot of ways that pros do this is they will have these retractable flagpoles, and you can bring these in, but they have to be telescopic. You have to be able to lower them, and they put their flags up there, and that is an indicator for their friends and families to be able to find them. Now, a lot of us don't have these cool flags, and so what you're going to want to do if you have people meeting you is find someone who is going to be stationary all day and set up close to them, and then you can give them that flag as an indicator of where you're going to be at. Just like in your neighborhood, you may not like all of your neighbors, and you may not approve of some of the things that other neighbors are doing. But we do live in a free country, and I'm so thankful for that. And sometimes you may see people who are doing inappropriate things. And the best thing that you can do is just try to forgive and forget, or go with the flow, or move on and not cause a scene, because if the police do have to come in, they're probably going to ask both parties to leave. And when we're talking about the subject of illegal, unfortunately, during Jazz Fest, public intoxication is probably not one of the things that someone's going to get hauled off for by the police. They may get hauled out by an ambulance for over consuming and being in this amount of heat and not having enough water. There is a lot of marijuana being smoked. So if you have small children and you don't want to have to explain these things, you may need to stay on the outer rim of the track, because you never know who is going to be your neighbor, or who your neighbor is going to have come to visit them later on. People can be scandalously dressed. It's hot outside. There are a lot of people wearing next to nothing, and so now is a good time to talk about that. If you have not been to New Orleans in the summertime, there is no way to explain how oppressive that the heat is. I had friends that came in from Florida this year. They thought that they were well prepared because we live in the South, and so do they. But when you get onto a track with zero shade and you're in the full sun from 11 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and the amount of humidity that we have here, you cannot prepare for that. I've lived here my whole life, and I'm going to tell you, I have never gotten used to it. There are a couple things that you can do. First of all, wear clothing that's going to breathe. Sundresses work for me. They don't always work for everyone else. I try to remind people that black is a conductor of heat. I try to never wear black out into the Jazz Fest field. You're going to want to wear something that breathes and that's something that doesn't rub against your skin if you're walking or sitting in it for a long time. Remember, you are going to sweat like you have never sweat before in your life. So maybe something that dries quickly or absorbs that. And then remember that you're going to have to use a lot of sunscreen. I usually bring more than one type of hat because I'm not used to wearing a hat all day, every day. So I'll usually bring a big giant sun hat, and I'll also bring a baseball cap. And that way the top of my head is always covered. But I'm not wearing the same hat all day. That's going to aggravate my skin. All right, so we've been crammed in here all day long, waiting in lines, like I said in part 1 video, to get food and drinks and go to the bathroom. Everybody's hot, they're dirty, it's disgusting and fun at the same time. And now we are all going to try to exit at the same time, and we are all going to be driving out from the exits the same time. So it is time to really pack your patient pants and try to enjoy the process of leaving Jazz Fest.
Good. I'm so happy. We had a great time. Oh, that was fab.
When you've come to Jazz Fest more than once, you definitely tend to make fast friends because there's so many common interests going on here. And so it's really fun at the end of the day to run into someone that you haven't seen in a long time that you may have met here or know from somewhere else. People are coming in from all over the world. This is the perfect opportunity to meet new friends and talk about music and things that you enjoy and the food and the culture and all of those things. So make sure that you take a few minutes to do that, and on the way out is a really great way. And then the other thing to do on your way out is enjoy the people that give up their freedom at their houses, in their neighborhood, every single year for at least 2 weeks out of the year. They embrace this, or hopefully they rent their house out for Airbnb because they cannot get in or out of here. There's a several block radius that you can only come in if you are part of the Jazz Fest organization. You have a pass, you're a musician. If you have a parking pass for you to park at your own home, if you have off-street parking, they still allow you to come in and out of that. And then if you need to walk to get an Uber, or you are driving here to park, or you're riding a bicycle in, you're going to have to navigate through all these people before you can even get out to the road to get to your car where you have either parked or you're waiting on a ride share or a person to pick you up. So make sure that you thank the people that have set up porta toilets along the way. People have put these out at their own expense, and most of them won't take any money. They just want everybody to be kind to each other, and they want us to spread the love. Several people will have hired musicians to sit on their porches and play music for the passerbyers, and just to kind of alleviate the stress of trying to hurry up and get to your car so you can hurry up and wait some more and sit in the traffic. The architecture in New Orleans is absolutely beautiful, and there's so many old historic things to look at. And so make sure that you take the time to do that too. I know that you're hot and you're tired, but if you get to your car right now, you're not going to go anywhere anyway. So the show ended at 7, and our car was only parked about 15 minutes away, but we did not get to it until 8 o'clock. Also make sure to buy some water from these people that are trying to work to bring in a little bit of extra money. I mean, they're hauling all this in for us. And so the last thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to try to make sure that you're not throwing anything away. Like I said, these people live here, and there is a lot of trash and a lot of stuff that they have to deal with. But if you could just do your part and take your trash out with you and try to figure out a way to dispose of it later on into a trash can, that's really going to help everybody in the neighborhood, and it's going to make it better for all the people that are going to come back tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, I hope that you come back, because I'm going to do part 3. So like I said before, this was part 2. Make sure that you check out part 1. I have them all marked in a series so you can watch them one right after the other, and I'm 100% sure that these tips ring true for year after year and not just Jazz Fest 2022. It sounds like I need some water right now, and so I will see you tomorrow for part 3. You haven't taken the time to like and subscribe yet? Well, what are you waiting for?
I go righteous, he goes mighty. I was just walking around, I was like, those are the only 2 words you can use to describe that.
Righteous or mighty?
Mighty righteous.
Mighty righteous.
It was breathtaking.
Look at those trees too, it's so beautiful. Yeah, do the whole front of the house.
Yeah, I know 2 houses with this, and this isn't one of them. So now I know 3 houses, plus the place in the French Quarter. So I know of another place.
What is that lady saying?
Excuse me, what's this place? Oh, I saw that table.
I just did, yeah.
It's so pretty.
It's a nice spot.
Yeah, it really goes all
Bayou
the way
St.
up.
John, Jax.
Hey, if you think about this school, that little dinner right there, these people are alright. That neighborhood we were just in 5 minutes ago was alright.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a good part of the city. Fairgrounds.
Yeah, mid-city. Fairgrounds, every history.
Right
We
there.
should have, well, that would have taken us a long time to get there. The Deutsch's house.
Yeah,
That's where Oktoberfest is, Jax.
Very